Hi friends, welcome to Network TechZone. In this video, we will configure dynamic path using manual NAT. The topology and the IP address is exactly the same as we discussed in our dynamic path for AutoNAT, and I have given the link of the configurations if you want to have a look in the description box below. So let's understand what is auto and manual NAT. An auto NAT rule uses only the source address and port when matching and translating. But in case of manual NAT, the manual NAT can match both the translation of source and the address of the destination and the port numbers. So in both the cases, the translated source may be the IP of the egress interface of an object. So here the egress interface that we are going to use is the public IP address. And since I'm going to use a manual NAT, the aim of this lab is for me to reach to the internet from the Windows computer. I want this to get connected via 192.168.112.99. But on the destination, since I will be doing destination NAT, I will use two destination. One is the loopback and one more is the IP address of the router outside. This is one of my destination and this is another destination. So I will be doing a manual NAT. So what I will tell this router is, if you are trying to reach destination 1, it will have to connect via 192.168.112.100. Okay. And if you want to connect, that is the loopback IP address. Okay, this is the loopback IP address, loopback 1. Okay, and I would say I'll create a NAT in such a way that it has to get translated via 192.168.112.111. Okay, so I will have to create objects. So how many objects I will need to create? I need to create an object for this. Okay, let me change the color. Okay, I need to create an object for this one and this one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I need to create 7 objects because this is possible in manual NAT. Here you can modify your destination. Okay, and I will be doing the destination NAT, and let's see how the translation appears. Okay, so I'm not going to do any configurations. It's already there in the previous video, and you can have a look at the configurations in the description box below by referring to our dynamic path using AutoNAT. So I'll just go ahead and create some objects. So before we do that, let's check the status of this Windows computer. I'm in a control panel. You can see it is connected to our network, that is our home router, okay, which is 192.168.112.2. But there is no internet access. So we need to create a NAT statement. The IP address has been already configured. Even the access list is configured. Let's move to the ASA and check. Show run access list. It's present. Show run access group. Okay, that's there. And let's check the route. Show route. So I got routing in place, which is the default route for me to connect to the internet. Okay, and I also have static route towards the loopback IP address on this out router. So on the out router, this is the out router. I have already configured telnet in our previous lab, so I'm not going to do the configuration again. So show IP interface brief. So you can see the loopback IP address is present and the status is up. The port is also up. Okay, and let's see the route. Show IP route. Again, it has got the default route via the outside interface of the ASA, which is 192.168.112.5. And let's look at the configuration on our router for the inside. For the inside router, enable password, that is ENABLA, and I have got show IP interface brief. So you can see the IP address is configured for the gigabit Ethernet 0/0 with 10.1.1.3. Okay, let's look at IP route. And you can see there's a default route passing via 10.1.1.2. Okay, so routing is in place, IP address has been configured, and our Windows computer is not having internet. And now let's go ahead and create some objects, and then we will configure the NAT statement. So we'll go to ASA Firewall. Okay, on the ASA Firewall, let's configure the object for our Windows PC first. So object network PC. Host name. We need to provide the host name. What's our host name? What you see is 10.1.1.1. Okay. I know in case of dynamic path, you may be thinking that we can use only one public IP address, which is of course true, but this is the beauty of manual NATs. You can create your own destination. Okay, so let's see how it works. So we have configured the object network for our PC. So we need to get a object network for NATed PC, right? So let's say object network pad PC. Yeah, I want to do the mapped IP address. Let's map it over what? Let's map it to 192.168.112.99, right? 192.168.112.99. So we're done with the Windows PC. Let's move to our internal router. Okay, object network in router. Okay, and what's the IP address for the real IP address for the internal router? 10.1.1.3. And we also need to specify the NATed. I'll just say path in router. Okay, and for that object, what's the host? We will pass it via 112.100, right? So 192.168.112.100. Okay, this was for reaching the router, but we also need this to reach the loopback IP address, right? So we also need to specify another object, which is 112.111 for our mapped IP. So object network 192.160. Oh, sorry. Object network path loopback path. I'll say path loop. Okay. Host 192.168. Host 192.168.112.111. Now we also need to specify the object for destination. So object network destination, as I just say, destination router. Okay. The real IP address what's the real IP address? 192.168.112.3. And object network destination loopback. Correct. So I'll just say destination loop. Host 1.1.1.1. Okay, let's check. Just exit and we will say show run object. So these are all the objects which we have created. Now let's go ahead and configure NAT. It's very simple. Just again go to global configuration. Okay, then we will say NAT inside. So we will start with doing NAT for our Windows to connect to the internet. So I will say NAT inside, outside, source, dynamic. Okay, and we need to specify the real source, right? So the real source is what? PC. Correct? And now is the NAT mapped source. The mapped source is what? Pad PC. Okay. And I don't want to specify any destination because by default I want this to get connected to the internet. So I will not be using any destination. So I can just say enter. Okay, pad PC does not. Oh, I've written pad PAC. Pad PC. Okay. So now it should work. Now your internet should be accessible for your Windows PC present in the inside network. Now we will create another NAT statements for our destination. Okay, we have two destinations, so we'll create the statement for the first one for our router. Now let's go for the in router. NAT inside, outside, source, dynamic. Here it's asking for the real source. What's our real source? This real IP address itself. Okay. And if you see in our show run object command, it is called in router. and we will be patting it to pat in router. Okay, so in router and mapped sources pat in router, nothing but 192.168.112.100, and we will be, I have given this number 1 because the destination what we are choosing is the IP address of this outside router, correct? So destination static. Okay, destination static. Here you don't have dynamic option, it's always static. Okay, static mapped destination. So what's our map destination? Our map destination is DESROUTER. Okay, so this is what we have mapped. DESROUTER, and I'm not going to change the mapping for the destination. So your real IP address for your destination is also the same. So DESROUTER. Okay, that's all. Now, one more goal was when you are telnetting from this router to reach your loopback IP address, we wanted to get it translated via 192.168.112.111. Let's look at that object name. Where is that? It's called pat loop, right? So the in router, okay, will be translated via pat loop. Okay, so NAT inside, outside, source, dynamic, in router. Of course, you just have only one router here in our lab, and we wanted it to be translated to this 111. And what have we given the name for that? Pat loop, right? Okay, just look at this. It's a mapped source, and our mapped source is pat loop. Okay, next option is destination. Destination always static. Okay, and mapped destination. What's our mapped destination? The loopback IP address itself. Okay, so I'm not going to do any mapping for the destination. So loopback IP address, check what name have we given for our loopback. We give destination loop, right? DESTLOOP. So let's keep the same. It's asking for real destination, and the real destination is the same. Dest loop. Done. So that's all. We just have got this NAT statement. You can say show run NAT. You have got 3 NAT statement. What is this? Let's say show run. Yeah, you got 3 NAT statement here. So one is for the Windows PC to connect to the internet, for which I have not specified destination. Okay, I have not given any destination address for this. But for destination router 192.168.1.1.2.3, that should, whenever a telnet connection is given from here, to reach this router IP address, it has to pass via 192.168.112.100. And when you're telnetting from this router to your loopback address being the destination, it has to get translated via 192.168.112.111. Now let's go ahead and first check the connections for the telnet. So before that, I'll just clear some XLIT. Clear XLIT. And we'll say show NAT details. Okay. So this is how the NAT table is looking. It's a manual NAT. That's what we used. Okay. And we use destination NAT. Let's initiate some traffic from this inside router now. ENABLE. So telnet 192.168.112.3. It's asking for password Cisco. Enable itself is the password. So let's go to our router present on the outside. So on the outside, let's check now. Enable show users. So if you're connecting for the router, we wanted it to get translated via 112.100. Let's see what we get in our, So we see 192.168.112.100 in our connection table. Okay. Let's also see show TCP brief. You will see the port numbers. Let's check. You see the port number is assigned by the ASA. Okay, now let's also check if you get 112.111 for the destination loopback. Okay, so let's see telnet 1.1.1.1. Let's verify the routing in the ASA. So I have two routes. So one is a default route towards the internet gateway, which is my home router, which is 112.2. And one more is the loopback IP address. So for the loopback IP address, I have one static route 1.1.1.1. And I've taken /32, the complete subnet mask for this. Okay, and the next hop address, I have taken the router because the loopback is connected to the router. And anyways, these both are in the same subnet, so not an issue. Okay, so let's once again run the telnet from the inside router to telnet 1.1.1.1, and our aim was to see the translation happening via 192.168.112.111. Okay, So this number 2 was for the loopback destination. Let's check. Okay, that worked now. Password Cisco. Enable is the password. Let's go to the out router and see show users and verify if you see 112.111 this time. Yes, there it is. Let's now check. Okay, let's also check the port numbers to see port numbers. So show TCP brief. You can see the port number 26076. Okay, so we were able to successfully verify the changes in our public IP address when we were trying to reach different destination. So one destination was this IP address on the outside router, and the other one was for the loopback one. And for both the destination, we saw we were able to successfully get translated to different public IP addresses that we used in our translation. Okay, so we will check this internet now. Let's go to our Windows computer and see if it has got internet access. I'll just go to change adapter settings. It's connected to our network, but let's just disable and enable it. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Okay, it says enabled. It's working. You can see that it's trying to identify. Okay, the red X is gone, not connected. It may take some time. Now it seems to be connected. Let's check in our network and sharing center. Okay, good. So we don't have the red alarm over here. So maybe it should get connected to the internet now. Let's see. I'll open a Google Chrome. www.google.com. Seems to be up. If you want to search Cisco, trying to load. Okay, so that is got the web page, so that's working now. So we were able to use 3 different public IP addresses as per our choice for our destination, and able to configure dynamic path using AutoNAT. I hope that this video has been informative to you all. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.